Alrighty, well, I won't say good morning because it's actually quite late. I had filmed a whole nother intro to this video, but then the battle slate or data slate, whatever the heck the 40k update is called, came out, and there were no updates to Imperial Agents. Uh, so yeah, that kind of annoyed me. They have a 39% win rate, if memory serves, and not a single thing was done to them. So that just kind of annoyed me to the point that I didn't really want to paint my last characters for this army right now. So instead, I'm gonna bring good old fashioned Space Marines to the tournament tomorrow. Um, yeah. So been talking all week, all month really, about bringing my Imperial agents. But I mean, I don't know. GW. I assume the army's gonna get axed in 11th, but it would have just been nice to pretend at least that you care about this army, but clearly not. But in any event, I'm going to take Space Marines. So starting now will be my explanation of my list and why I brought what I brought. Alrighty, so I will be bringing Raptors to the tournament tomorrow. The tournament is at Savannah Lion Games in Pooler, Georgia, just outside Savannah. Great venue. They have a whole dedicated room for miniature wargaming. The terrain is fine. I mean, it's the standard 40k competitive terrain. It could be better, but of course, you know, Games Workshop could make it better. So in any event, it's a great venue, great owner, great host, great TO. So yeah. But this is the army I'm bringing. It is in the Firestorm Assault detachment. I guess which is supposed to be the White Scars detachment. That gives all of my guns assault, and if I'm targeting an enemy within 12 inches, I get +1 strength on those guns. So it's pretty great. It synergizes well with some of the units I brought. So let's get into it. So starting off, sort of the backbone of the list are my two of the units that are sort of objective campers and hold the back line while everybody else goes forward, and that's these Sternguard vets here. They are led by a lieutenant to give them lethal hits. They have 4 combi weapons, 4 rifles, and 2 heavy bolters. Uh, no special reasoning why I did that. That's just what came in the Indominus box, where they came from. Then the other unit is just a plain old unit of intercessors, also led by a lieutenant. This is the 500th store opening lieutenant. I cut off his gun in his hand and kind of cocked his arm back to make it look like he's lost all his weapons and is just hitting somebody with his helmet. I thought that was fun. So he's leading the intercessors, and with their ability to double their number of attacks as long as they target one unit, they're great for camping the back objective. They sticky it also if they have to leave, and then just laying down fire as they need to. Then we come to the punch of the army. That is 2 drop pods. In the first drop pod, I have 10 Infernus Marines, led by my Warlord, who is a captain with a Power Fist. He also has the Champion of Humanity enhancement. So, no, sorry, he does not have the enhancement. The other guy does. He's just a captain. He makes it so that once per battle round, a command point or a stratagem costs 1 fewer command points. In this detachment, there is a stratagem to give a unit with torrent weapons, which these Infernus Marines have, devastating wounds. That normally costs 2 command points. With the captain, they can make it, or he can make it 1 command point, which is excellent. And of course, they're riding down in a drop pod. And the goal with them is just to land, deploy out of it. They're within 12, so they get the buff. They also are going to get. They're going to drop on my oath target, so they're going to get +1 to wound and +1 strength. So typically, what that means is they become strength 6. Usually, they'll wound the things they're shooting at on 3s. With the +1 to wound from oath, that means they're wounding on 2s. They're rolling 10d6 attacks, so they usually do a pretty good amount of damage. Then, in the other drop pod, we have 10 Hellblasters, led by a lieutenant. And this is the guy who has my enhancement. He has the Champion of Humanity enhancement, and that just means that they ignore all penalties to hit and to wound. So, they can shoot at a stealth unit with no problem, or any of the other random debuffs that pop up, they can ignore them. As you notice, I have basically no anti-tank in this list other than the Hellblasters, and they're not really anti-tank. They're kind of maybe anti-light tank, but if anything really big pops up, I'm not gonna be able to kill it, but I might be able to score points around it. So we'll see. Really, their main goal is to take out elite infantry. When they overcharge, they are strength 8, AP -3, and damage 2, so they can really tear through some elite infantry, depending on their invul save. And then, of course, they take their hazardous tests. When they die on a 3-up, they can shoot again. So, if you get really lucky, if you want to call it that in this instance, you'll fire them all off. Some will die. You'll roll to see if they can shoot. They can, and then they shoot off again. So, if in a really lucky phase, you'll get the 20 initial shots and then maybe 8 more shots on top of that. So, and of course, they're led by a lieutenant, so they have lethal hits, which can help out against those heavier targets if they end up having to shoot them. Then we come to the utility of the list. The first are these 5 infiltrators, and they're either to camp the home objective if the opponent has some deep strike stuff, because you can't arrive within 12 of these guys, so they're great for that. Otherwise, depending on the mission and the terrain map, I just throw them out in a ruin on an objective so I can start on one extra objective. You never know, if you might get lucky and draw one of the cards that you need to take an objective in no man's land, and boom, you're done. You have it. Then the other piece of utility are 10 assault intercessors with being led by a chaplain. These guys, their utility is basically to look scary and get shot at. I'll usually throw these guys out in the middle of the board, send them running up the middle, and people think, oh my god, there's Space Marines running at me. When in reality, these guys have chainswords. They do have the +1 to wound from the chaplain, which is nice. So, if they get into something light, they can do a decent amount of damage. But really, they're to be a distraction and to get shot at instead of one of my prime units actually getting shot at. And that's basically the whole list. Pretty simple list. It's only a 1,500 point tournament. So, there's not as much as there would be normally. If this list, in the 2,000 point version of this list, there are Terminators, some Inceptors, and some Reavers. Mostly just because that's what I had lying around when I embarked on this project. This was a 24-hour challenge I did. I did one 24-hour Space Marine challenge, and the people in our community voted for me to do Bringers of Judgment because they thought it would be funny to make me paint white for 24 hours. So after I did that, I decided I wanted to do another one, but I chose this time. And I chose Raptors just because I've always liked the paint scheme. And so I just had, random Indominus units and whatever the other starter box is called. Trying to peek over on my shelf. Leviathan. I think I said those guys are from Indominus earlier. Aren't they from Leviathan? I don't know. Whatever box they're from. I just had random stuff lying around. And so that's what I chose for this army. But I think it works out pretty well. I'm probably expecting to go 0-3. I might get lucky and get a win. That's perfectly fine with me. I'm mostly just going to support the TO who's running it. He's been unable to run events for the past couple months, and this is his first event back. And so it's always nice to support the people who run events, because then they'll run more events, and more events are always better. But that will do it for this video. Very little hobbying today. It was mostly spent doing real life stuff in the morning, and then in the afternoon that leak happened of the balanced data slate, and so then after that basically killed my hobby vibes. So I just kind of, that's all right. Sometimes your hobby vibes die, and of course they'll come back. But I just chose to not do anything hobby related today. Just kind of hung out. Did a little bit of like paperwork stuff in the background. So technically that counts. It was for the club, so but whatever. I'm not worried about it. Got my army together. Gonna pack it up, and I'll see how I fare tomorrow. But thank you everybody for watching. If you enjoyed the video, I would encourage you to click the like button. Subscribe to the channel if you want to see more videos like this whenever I go to a tournament. And I will see you tomorrow.